season, 2022 season of my Madden NFL 18 offline franchise where I control 32 teams. And yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun so far. We had some hell of games. I mean, some incredible games, some incredible finishes. And even though I played every single game between every single opponent, week 1 through 4 have gone by quite quickly. So here we are in week 5. And I was just thinking, it would be fun. I'm actually doing a video on Twitch. Yeah, I thought I could just show a little bit current status of my offline franchise and just show what the standings are, where each team is right now at this point in the season. So I guess let's get started with some information about week 4. And let's take a look first who has won the offensive and defensive players of the week awards. So we have Ricky Stackhouse from the Eagles, the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, who has played some crazy game, 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, so that's 5 touchdowns in total, 272 passing yards, and another 73 rushing yards on 9 attempts. So that's one hell of a game. Took 2 sacks, but that's not too bad. I mean, we have seen other quarterbacks take a lot more sacks than that in the season. So yeah, that seems quite fair to me that he was given that award. That's for the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. For the NFC on defense, we have M. Jordan. I don't even know his first name. It would be kind of fun if it was Michael Jordan, but I don't know. I guess I can take a look in a second here. Or let's take a look right away who that is, what his first name is. So I on the Falcons. And the outside linebacker, Malcolm Jordan. He's a 4th-year player from Florida State. And let's take a quick look at what his season been like so far. Well, he only has 1.5 sacks, but he has 1 interception for 70 yards, a couple of deflections, and quite a decent amount of tackles. I mean, he has 2-digit amount of tackles in 2 games, 12 tackles in this game. And I'm sorry, I never really want to rant about Madden, but to me it's super annoying and makes no sense to me at all why the game makers of Madden would not put in any sort of information in the season stats screen as to what game you're looking at. Because, I mean, look at this. There's no way for me right now to actually tell which game it was that he got 12 tackles in and 1 tackle for loss and half a sack, or what game it was that he actually got that interception for. I don't know. Maybe I'm just stupid, or I'm missing some information. Maybe it's also, simply going by week. So the top one is week 1, and week 2, week 3, week 4. I don't know. Maybe there's something that I don't know, but for me, that's something really, really minor that would be super, I guess, easy to implement for EA Sports, but for some reason, I guess they don't do it. And I mean, everybody knows that CFM hasn't really been a top-notch priority for EA Sports in a while. So hopefully they're gonna, look into that for next year. But I wouldn't hold my breath. So still, it's a pretty decent game. I'm having a lot of fun, but some of these things are just pretty annoying. But, back to the topic. This guy seems to have quite the season, and I guess if you look at it, um, maybe this is week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. I don't know. Let's take a look and go back to the weekly awards screen and take a look at his stats. So in week 4, that was the game where he had 13 tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception, and 1 touchdown. So that was probably, that must have been the interception that he took back for a touchdown. So that's quite impressive. He got that award, and I think it's well deserved. So I think it's his first. Yeah, it's his first defensive award. And Ricky Stackhouse, look at that. He had back-to-back Offensive Player of the Week awards. He already has been the NFC Offensive Player of the Week in week 3. So that's incredible. Wow. Incredible. So Stackhouse is having himself quite a season. Anyway, let's take a look at the AFC. We have Matthew Stafford playing for the Bills. And yes, we're talking about the 2022 season, so things are a little bit different now. He is no longer playing for the Detroit Lions, but playing for the Buffalo Bills. They picked him up on a 1-year deal on free agency prior to the 2022 season to serve as sort of a bridge quarterback. The Bills have, I don't know his name, but some first or second year quarterback that they drafted in the first couple rounds 1 or 2 years ago. And Stafford is sort of like the bridge quarterback, so we're going to see how that goes. But so far, and that's the interesting thing, the Bills at week 4, they still have not lost. So they tied at Miami in week 1. They won in week 2. They won in week 3 and won in week 4. We can take a look at this in a moment. Against whom they won. But back to topic. Matthew Stafford had himself quite a game in week 4. 431 passing yards. How about that? So that's more than 400 yards. Incredible amount of passing yardage. He didn't fail to score either. He got 4 passing touchdowns, 1 interception, 3 sacks, which is, well, it's not perfect, but it's not that bad. And he had 4 rushing attempts for 22 rushing yards and also a fumble. But I think that was also a little bit because of, I had some bad gaming sliders. I had the fumble gaming slider a little bit too low. I was playing around with that a little bit in week 4. So I don't even look at that fumble really much. And apparently neither did Madden because he still got the award. Yeah, so that was pretty good for Stafford. And on AFC defense, I don't even know his first name, but he is a quarterback for the Houston Texans. 9 tackles. Now just think about that for a moment. 9 tackles as a cornerback. That's absolutely incredible. And 1 interception, 1 touchdown. So he took that interception for a touchdown, returned it all the way back to the red zone. That's incredible. I mean, you don't see that very often at the quarterback position, I would say. But on the other hand, I have seen it more often in this offline franchise season. Maybe it's something, with me playing the quarterback position aggressively, going deep quite a few times, not looking for the underneath stuff, but always sort of forcing the deep pass and attacking the cornerbacks. I don't know who the Texans played against. That would be interesting to take a look at. That would also be interesting here. Again, EA Sports, if you're listening, that would be fantastic to have that added here to the screen. Just some small information, about the game. Who was the opponent, and by the way, why don't display the first game, right? I mean, and why can I not just select the player from this screen? That would be perfect. Another little suggestion. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, we can take a quick look who this player is for the tournament. Harmon Tuman. Okay, so he is a second-year player out of Pittsburgh. Cornerback, 5'11", 182, and his season stats. Can take a quick look. So far, 29 tackles. That's incredible. In 4 games, 29 tackles in 4 games. 1 interception for 98 yards. Goodness gracious. That's pretty much the whole football field. I think that must mean he picked it off at the 2-yard line and returned it all the way to for a touchdown. That's incredible. Wow. And 4 deflections already. So he is one heck of a player, I would say. And yeah, I mean, so this was week 4. So I guess what I was saying earlier, it cannot really be true. It's not going by week, this screen. It's definitely, I don't know. I mean, I have no idea which. All I know right now is that this game that I'm highlighting right now is week 4. So if this is week 4, then obviously that means that those games are not sorted by week. They are sorted by something else. I don't know what it is, but I mean, it looks like it is sorted by solo tackles, and takes that as a simple way of rating a player's games in the ongoing season. But of course, that's not really what I would start the games after. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, he's the AFC Defensive Player of the Week for week 4. So that pretty much wraps up week 4 and the awards. I think what we can do now is take a quick look at the team stats on offense and defense, just to have a quick overview. Who is doing well, who is struggling. So we can see that even though the Titans have a 1-3 record, they are the first team on offense. So they have the number 1 overall offense in the league. Sort of reminds me a little bit of the Saints of, like from 2011 through 2016. They also scored a lot of points, a lot of yards, Drew Brees, and they still didn't make the playoffs a lot of times, lost a lot of games. So I guess the Titans are a little bit like that here so far throughout the first 4 weeks of the season. They definitely have a strong passing attack. It looks like they are the number 3 overall passing attack. I mean, we can see here that the most imbalanced offenses are the Patriots, the Packers, and the Titans. But I would say especially the Patriots and Packers. I mean, look at that. The discrepancy between passing yardage and and rushing yards, so that's incredible. But back to overall offense, the Titans are number one. 11 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, and I guess that really speaks volumes about Marcus Mariota, who is still the quarterback for the Titans. The Rams are number 2 in offensive yardage, really close behind, but they are a little bit more balanced. They have, thanks to Todd Gurley, who's still with the Rams in 2022 here, they have a little bit more rushing yards. Then on number 3 spot, we have the 49ers, which are interestingly also at 1-3, just like the Titans. So we have 2 teams among the top 3 offenses who are really struggling to win games, but they still have a lot of offensive power. So I guess what that means for those teams, they really need to figure it out on defense. I mean, look at this. The Titans score 31 and a half points per game. The 49ers even more so, 37.3 points per game, and still they have lost 3 games possible. So they must have really been horrible and awful on defense. So yeah, on number 4. We have another team that is struggling. 1-3, the Redskins, the Washington Redskins, have really been playing a lot in primetime slots in the season. Now, that's another really strange thing I've noticed that Madden does. It seems like it is giving, it doesn't have a lot of sense in creating the schedule. Each time you start a new season in franchise mode, because the Redskins they have had I think they have 4 or 5 Sunday night and Monday night football games. It's unbelievable, and I think they are again on Sunday night football this week, week 5, but we're going to see about that a little bit later. Speaking on offense, they are in the number 4 spot. And they are quite a bit more balanced here, but still they need to figure it out on defense. So, I mean, they score almost 28 points per game, and they're still losing 3 games throughout the first 3 weeks of throughout the first 4 weeks of the season. That's not good enough. The Bears are the 5th overall on offense, 39 points on average. Now, I realize that this is ridiculous. I mean, those points per game averages are way too high. This is also because I changed the gameplay sliders a little bit to make it harder to score. But early on, it was a little bit too easy to score. I'm playing 15-minute quarters, so you have to make it a little bit tougher on the offense and increase the gameplay sliders a little bit so that scoring is more difficult. Otherwise, you end up with 100 points every single game, just because you have so much time, such long quarters. So I didn't get that right from the beginning, but overall, we should see those numbers drop to a more believable level throughout the season, I think. Texans, they're 6th overall on offense, 36.8 points. They are at a pretty good record, 3-1. The Bears are 3-1, so that is also interesting. I think Mitch Trubisky, he's still playing quarterback for the Bears. He's playing a tremendous season so far. He's actually, I think, the highest rated quarterback in the league right now, the highest rated starting quarterback, and probably an MVP candidate. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how Madden is going to count yardage and everything, or rating and so on, but as far as rating goes, he's I think right now the top quarterback in the league. And you can see that also by the number of passing touchdowns. It's 11 11 touchdowns, so that's tops in the league. Yeah, then we have the Texans and the Chiefs. Now they have struggled big time. I mean, they have lost the first 4 games. They haven't won a game yet, but are the 7th overall offense in the league. So how is that even possible, right? I mean, they have really had some heartbreaking losses. But yeah, I am going to be interested how that continues because I think that really the team is not that bad. However, they have lost their starting quarterback. Now, I don't remember the name. I don't remember who was the starting quarterback for the Chiefs. But right now it's Patrick Mahomes, who is the backup usually. Now he's playing, and he has played decently. I mean, he was not bad at all. But always, like in crunch time and the fourth quarter, the Chiefs just collapsed and cuffed it up on a number of occasions in this season. So yeah, they are still waiting for the first win. Maybe it's going to happen this week in week 5. We're going to take a look later at the games who are going to be played in week 5. The Saints, they're somewhere in the middle of the field, top half of the league when it comes to offense. Daniel Parker is the quarterback. He has struggled quite a bit with interceptions, but still put up decent numbers on yardage and passing touchdowns. The Giants with Trey Edwards at quarterback, they have had a tremendous success in the red zone with 10 passing touchdowns, which is second among the league. Also, a lot of passing yards. Still, they have lost 2 games, and I think one win of those should have been a loss because I made some screw up with the clock on the other team. I think that was the Eagles, but I don't remember exactly. I think it might have been in week 3, maybe week 4, actually, that I made a mistake and the other team should have won. So yeah, there you go. Surprise, surprise. I'm not perfect either, so sometimes I'm making some really dumb mistakes on clock management or something when it comes to crunch time. But I remember that in one game I excellently ran a run play, even though I didn't have a timeout left. And the run play took just long enough so that we couldn't get back and score the field goal, which would have been enough to win the game. But anyway, long story short, we continue. The Falcons, they're doing pretty good. I mean, Matt Ryan is still doing a pretty darn good job. The Cardinals, they are playing a pretty good season with Cameron Fair, number 12. Cameron Fair is the quarterback for the Cardinals. I think he's like in his 3rd or 4th year. He was a really, really good draft pick by the Cardinals a few seasons ago here in the offline franchise. The Bucs, oh my goodness, the Buccaneers. What about the Buccaneers? I mean, you can say the Chiefs have disappointed, but what about the Buccaneers? They have Jameis Winston, they have O.J. Howard, they have Mike Evans. What the hell is going on? I mean, they have so many offensive weapons. They have, I would say, above average offensive line. They have some weakness at left guard. Right tackle is a little bit iffy, but other than that, they still have, also a pretty good defense. They should have the package to be definitely better than 0-4. So I don't know what the hell is going on there. They have struggled to put up points in comparison to some of those other teams. But the yardage has been decent. So I expect some turnaround here. I don't think they're going to continue to struggle like that. So, but we will see. The Colts, now that has been a sad story. Listen, folks, I'm a Jets fan, but I feel sorry for the Colts, and I'm not just talking about the franchise right now. I feel sorry speaking right now about 2017, how everything has been going on with Andrew Luck. You just gotta feel for the guy. I mean, it's terrible, that shoulder injury keeps lingering around, and at this point, you don't even know when is he gonna come back. Will he be the same ever again that he was before. Now, the interesting thing is, and why am I saying all of this, in this offline franchise, he's still the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. But now, in week 4, last week, he injured himself. I don't know what it was. I think it might have been a shoulder injury, actually. I'm not kidding. And he's out for the year. The Colts had to put him on IR. Recovery time is like 45 weeks or something. Maybe it was an ACL, another shoulder injury. I don't remember right now, but all I know is he's out for the year again, and they had to put him on IR. It's just terrible. Andrew Luck, I hope that you're going to have much better luck than it looks like in franchise here, and no pun intended, by the way. So, anyway, the Packers. Yeah, how about that? Now, we know that Aaron Rodgers is awesome, but he has struggled big time in this franchise. He has thrown 4 interceptions in week 3, I think it was. He has been a little bit better in week 4, but they still lost the game, I believe. So it's been surprisingly difficult for the Packers to win games. So I hope that's I'm not neutral. I'm not playing favorites. I'm not even playing favorites with the Jets in my franchise mode. I'm playing every team, so I have no favorite team here. But I expect them to pick up a few more wins here and turn things around. Aaron Rodgers is still great. That being said, the Packers in the 2022 draft drafted a quarterback first overall, and he is now riding the bench behind Aaron Rodgers. So you gotta wonder what that is about. Well, they traded up to get the first overall pick, so they invested heavily into that quarterback draft pick. Now I sort of made a mistake because Aaron Rodgers, he wasn't bad in week 1. He threw 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and it was a win in Philly. So that was a big win. Philly isn't bad, so it's a quality team. It's a quality win. And then I renewed his contract, and I shouldn't have done that because he's in his 18th year now. They just drafted a new quarterback first overall. Why renew his contract? It should have been to let his contract run out after this year, and then next year go with a quarterback after he has been redshirted in his first year. Now that was a mistake I made, I think, but it has happened before that people get a new contract and then they get fired anyway, or released, I should say. So that has happened in real life before. Maybe I'm going to do that again. We will see this offseason what I'm going to do with the Packers at the quarterback position. But yeah, so far it's not made me look smart to renew his contract because he has thrown a lot of interceptions. But the good news is the contract I've given him was only a 1-year contract, I believe. So it could be worse. Now the Seahawks, they have a bit more rushing yardage. Oh, and another quarterback injury here. Russell Wilson, he got injured. He has been out since I think it was week 1. And Ethan O'Neill has been the quarterback at backup who has stepped up to replace Wilson, and he has done a nice job. But still, they lost a couple of games, so it's not the same as Russell Wilson. But Ethan O'Neill, he has still been stepping up really well, and I think the Seahawks will have to make a decision at the end of this year what to do with Wilson. If they're gonna, actually before the end of the season, they will have to make a decision already when Wilson is healthy again. Are they gonna move him back into the starting quarterback position, or are they gonna continue to go with O'Neill? that, I guess, depends on what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, including week 5, and then we will see. All right, the Eagles, thanks to Ricky Stackhouse, they don't have all that much passing yardage, but a tremendous amount of rushing yardage, and really balanced, and they have been looking fantastic. I know that the record says 2-2, which could be better, but I think the Eagles, they definitely have a tremendous weapon with Stackhouse, who is really a dual threat. The question is, what about the running backs and receivers? So we will have to see about that. Oops, I just sorted those by mistake. All right, so anyway, the Eagles, I think they are one of the teams that we will see blossom here throughout the season. The Lions, they have struggled. They have Joe Newman as quarterback, and he has struggled with interceptions. But I could see the Lions be one of the teams who is going to turn things around in the next few weeks. Maybe not, we will see. The Steelers, they are another team who have lost their starting quarterback, Jared Sanders, to injury. He is not on IR, so he will come back in, I think, the last third, maybe the second third of the season. I don't know yet. And Jimmy Garoppolo is the backup who is playing starting quarterback right now. And he has done a good job. They had a couple of losses, I think, on the road, but the last couple of weeks, I think they won the games. So I think the Steelers are doing quite well for the situation they're in. The thing is, not just the quarterback, their starting quarterback is injured. They have had a ton of injuries at other positions as well, including their top 2 tight ends who have been injured. I have rarely seen a team in Madden who has suffered so many injuries just like the Steelers in this season. I could show this right now, but let me go through the rest of the offensive list here. Maybe I'm going into too much detail here for each of the team, but let me just continue here. The Patriots, I said this earlier, they're definitely far from balanced, but I mean, it's the Patriots, right? I mean, that's what they do. They pass the ball, and they do so very successfully. They are at 2-2, and I think, yeah, they opened week 1 at the Jets after the Jets won the Super Bowl in the last season. And they lost another game versus the Bulls when the Brooklyn Bulls were visiting the Patriots in New England. So I think that was actually in week 4. So they have lost a home game and 1 game on the road. The other 2 games, I don't know, probably 1 road, 1 win at home. They won both of those other 2 games. The Chargers, similar to the Patriots, are not really balanced all that much, but more balanced than the Patriots. I think that it's been a disappointment, to say the least. I expected them to do much better. Tom Ulrich is the quarterback. He was one of my MVP candidates going into the new season. He was drafted 2, maybe 3 years ago by the Chargers, and really I thought that would be his breakthrough season, but so far it hasn't been the case. Now the Bulls, they used to be the Cincinnati Bengals. This is their first year in Brooklyn, and I have to say EA Sports has done a fantastic job with the jerseys for the Brooklyn Bulls. I can't say much about, I can't say the same about most of the other uniforms of the other locations that you can pick in relocation mode and Madden, but the Brooklyn Bulls uniforms, they look really fantastic and quite realistic in my opinion, especially when it comes to the numbers and the color combinations and so on. They have, more importantly, a 2-2 record, and I guess their offense could be better, but their defense has been tremendous. We get to that later. Same thing about the Bills. They haven't scored a ton of points, but their defense has been stout. And I said this earlier, Matt Stafford has been solid. So that has been a really nice pickup by the Bills as a bridge quarterback. Dolphins and the Bills, they have already opened in week 1 at Miami with a tie that was a defensive battle at 17-17. The Dolphins have gone on to win 2 games after that and lose 1 game. The Bills, however, they haven't lost yet at all this season, so they have gone strong. Now the Dolphins, they're doing pretty good, but not quite as good as Buffalo. They have lost 1 game. I don't remember which game. Oh, I think it was a divisional game against the Jets, actually. The Jets are just in a league of their own at the moment. I think they are definitely a playoff candidate for sure, probably even a Super Bowl candidate in the AFC. We will have to see. The Ravens, on the other hand, they have been a total disappointment. Now, I have to say, though, they played at the Raiders in week 4, and they should have won the game. That was one of those finishes where screwed up clock management, made mental error, and it cost the Ravens the game and gave the victory to the Raiders. Now, well, what can you do? I'm not perfect, so I made a stupid mistake there. But what remains true is that they have struggled to score. I mean, they have really struggled to score points. You can see in 4 games, only 5 passing touchdowns. Yes, 3 rushing touchdowns, but still, it's just not, they have struggled to score the points in the red zone. Now the Raiders, they have not struggled so much to score, but still they have only 2-2 record, and they don't have a lot of yardage. So I don't know what's going on with the Raiders with Derek Carr and Amari Cooper, and I don't know who else they have right now, but they have a lot of offensive power, and then of course they have Khalil Mack on defense still. Yeah, it's similar to 2017. What's going on with the Raiders? Why aren't they more successful? I don't even remember right now who the coach is. Jack Del Rio is retired, so it's someone else, but I don't remember right now who the coach is. Anyway, let's finish this up. The Vikings 2-2. We're coming down now to the teams who have already had a bye week or have really been struggling on offense. So here you go, the Jets. They're not that bad on offense, but they have had a bye week in week 4, so obviously they're at the bottom of the list. Same goes about the Broncos. Oh, by the way, Bryce Petty is the starting quarterback for the Jets. So they have won 3 straight Super Bowls, but that was because I played only the Jets. This is the first season in my franchise mode where I control all 32 teams. I'm no longer playing favorites with any teams. So I definitely expect the competition to be more level right now. And, it was just for my own satisfaction, so to say, as a Jets fan, to sort of play in a world where the Jets go into the Super Bowl each year. But Bryce Petty has been struggling with interceptions this year. That's going to be interesting how that continues. Broncos have had their bye week in week 4 as well, so that's why they're near the bottom of the list. The Jaguars had the bye week. The Cowboys, now they did not have a bye week yet, and yet they're second to last on offense. So that tells you everything you need to know about the Cowboys offense in this season. Horrible. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know why, but they're apparently really, really bad. No rushing touchdowns, not even 1, and only 5 passing touchdowns for 4 games. So there you go. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. Dak Prescott is still their quarterback. Ezekiel Elliott is still their running back. And they also still have Des Bryant and Ryan Switzer. And so, I don't know. We will have to see. The Panthers are last, but again, they also had the bye week in week 4. So we had the Panthers on the bye week, the Jags, the Broncos, and the Jets. Those were the teams on the bye week in week 4. Now let's wrap things up with the defense. The top defense. Now here it's the other way around. Those teams who had their bye week obviously are going to be near the top or at the top. The Jets, first of all, they have one of the best defenses in the league. Plus they had their bye week in week 4, so that makes it obvious that they're at number 1 in the defensive rankings. Now what I find tremendous is 7 interceptions throughout 3 games. Now that's incredible. True testament to Jamal Adams, Marcus May, and Brooks. I think it was some quarterback that I drafted a couple of years back, or 1 year back even. So really young secondary and quite impressive. The Panthers had the bye week in week 4. They're second. Jaguars had the bye week in week 4. They're third. The Lions, they have apparently a really good defense. Not so many fumble recoveries, but a nice amount of sacks, 16 sacks. Yeah, the Saints, the Broncos. The Broncos had a bye week as well, of course. That's the fourth team who had a bye week in week 4. Now the Giants, they are 2-2, but they have a good defense. You can see here. Same goes to the Dolphins, the Eagles, the Bills. I said this earlier. Have a tremendous defense. The Blues have just been phenomenal as well. 4-0. So it's really. By the way, Blues. Those were the Cleveland Browns. I'm sorry, Cleveland, but I love the Indians, for example. I'm a huge Indians fan, but I just cannot stand the Cleveland Browns. Everything, starting from the name to the colors, everything. Every time, pretty much since Madden 13, or ever since the relocation feature was added to Madden franchise mode, I always relocate the Browns and the Bengals. I'm also going to relocate the Jaguars next offseason. They're going to relocate to Houston to become the Houston Gunners. And then I'm going to relocate the Houston Gunners to St. Louis to become the St. Louis Gunners. So that St. Louis has a team again. Simply because I love the Gunners uniforms in the game. They look fantastic. Anyway, the Buccaneers 0-4, but they have a good defense. So it's their offense. You know, their defense hasn't been that bad, but they need to step it up on offense. James Winston. Same thing about the Cowboys. We just talked about the offense. The offense has been terrible. Dead last, 32nd in the league. Their defense is not that bad. It's in the top half of the league. Now the Packers, they're going to come around. The Patriots, I'm sure too. The Ravens, they have a good defense, but they need to turn it around on offense. They're 0-4 right now because their offense has been brutal. The Rams 4-0 thanks to really good defense and balanced offense. The Raiders, the Steelers, Texans. Here we see the Chiefs, who have struggled 0-4, but we see that their defense could be worse. They're in the bottom half here, but still, it's not the worst defense overall. They could do better, but what they need to do is stop committing turnovers on offense. That's been a huge issue, especially with fumbles. But I also expect things to get better once their starting quarterback gets back. I don't remember who it was, but we will see. Things improve then when he comes back for sure. I'm pretty sure. Cardinals, their defense is not the best, but they have a good offense, so they are still 2-2. The Bulls have been the same. The Colts are a lost cause. I think they don't have the quarterback now. Now that Andrew Luck is gone to IR. I'm not sure how many more games they're going to win throughout the season. The Chargers, with Tom Ulrich, they need to turn it around on offense, but their defense is not helping much either, as you can see. They only have 6 sacks, which is not enough, so they definitely need to improve their defensive line to create more of a pass rush. They have had 3 interceptions, which is not all that bad, but the Chargers are in total rebuild mode right now. They have had the worst overall roster in my franchise mode for the last 3 years. And that's after, I think, they made the Super Bowl like 5 years ago. So, Yeah, they're definitely in a rebuild mode ever since Philip Rivers retired. The Redskins, they struggle, but they need to turn things around. And the Seahawks, how about that? Now that's blasphemy. The Seahawks, 32nd ranked defense, last ranked defense of the NFL. If you tell that any Seahawks fan, I bet they're going to say that's not going to be the case in 2022. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. And oh yeah, one more thing. Let's take a look at penalties. Who is the most penalized team? The Falcons. I don't expect that. The Buccaneers, I can see they're 0-4, but the Falcons are 2-2, not too bad. The Chiefs are among the top teams with most penalties. That makes sense. 0-4, as bad as they have been playing. The Rams 4-0 are really having a lot of penalties as well. That's a surprise. It's pretty leveled out here. Who's the least penalized team? The Jets. That makes sense. All right. Well, here we go. So that's that. I'm not going to go into too much detail about player stats. Just going to take a look at the passing leaders, the rushing leaders, and receiving leaders. Maybe also on tackles and interceptions. But let's start with quarterbacks. Right now, Ben McKenzie, the quarterback, third-year quarterback for the Patriots, is first overall with most yardage. Like I said, the Patriots, not a balanced offense at all. They really do almost everything through the air. You can see that translates to 385 yards per game on average for him. That number is obviously going to come down eventually quite a bit throughout the season. He has been starting, however, on a total hot streak. They're still only 2-2, but it's tremendous how many yards he has put up. But I think the reason also is that they have played from behind a lot of times. And that's why they're 2-2, not 4-0, because they have been playing from behind. And when you're behind, then obviously a lot of times you need to go through the air because of clock management. So that's going to be interesting how that continues. And yeah, 7 interceptions is not great. So we see that a lot of quarterbacks have had a lot of interceptions here. Brandon West for the 49ers has been quite good. Only 2 interceptions, 9 passing touchdowns, and the second most yards in the league. Aaron Rodgers had one horrible game, 4 interceptions against, I don't remember who it was against. Doesn't matter right now, but that was pretty much only one really, really bad game, and the others were somewhat okay. Marcus Mariota has been fantastic. Really, really good offensive performance by him. And you see that, yeah, those numbers need to come down. That's why I made it a little bit more difficult, played with the gameplay sliders around a little bit to make it a little bit more difficult to move the ball. Because I think those yardage numbers are just too high a little bit, Patrick Mahomes, he has not played the full season because he was the backup before the Chiefs starting quarterback got injured. But Halliday, that's his name. I don't know his first name, but yeah, that's the starting quarterback normally for the Chiefs. But he's not that much better than Mahomes when it comes to overall rating. But Mahomes has been good. Look at this. 10 passing touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. You can't ask much more of your quarterback. So I think he has done a tremendous job. Jimmy Garoppolo, you can say pretty much the same. Not quite as productive and a few more interceptions, but it's going to be interesting how that continues. Trey McKinley, the quarterback for the Rams, he is definitely one of the MVP candidates, I would say. the rating, 123.2 rating, 11 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, and one of the top yardage outputs in the league. So that is a strong argument for MVP consideration. Jameis Winston, I think he's going to get a contract extension. He is in the last year of his contract with the Buccaneers here. He has done a phenomenal job as well. Daniel Parker. Now he is, yeah, I don't know. I think he is a candidate where maybe the team might be moving to a new quarterback in the offseason. I don't know. He has been solid, but nowhere near what they had hoped from him. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sounding maybe a little bit weird because I'm the one who's playing those players, but yeah, it's not been good. Now Brian Heisenberg, he has been really struggling with turnovers for the Ravens, and that goes hand in hand with their 0-4 record. Matthew Stafford has been pretty good for the Bills. They haven't scored a lot of touchdowns and points compared to some of these other offenses, but hey, they still haven't lost, so that's what ultimately counts. Cameron Fair, he has been solid for the Cardinals. I think he had a couple of mediocre games, but other than that, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league with a rating of 100. Joe Newman, now he has pretty much the same numbers as Cameron Fair, but they have struggled in late game situations a couple of times, and that's why they are only 1-3 on the year. Tom Ulrich, I'm really disappointed, like I said earlier. I expected the Chargers to be better. Deshaun Watson, he has been a dream for the Texans. I think they're one of the teams who really have a shot at the playoffs and to make a deep run. We will see what goes on there. Andy Howard with Redskins. He is a second-year player. He was drafted last season by the Redskins. So far, less than stellar. Not even 80 rating of, not even a quarterback rating of 80. But I think it's too early to quit on him. Let's see how the season continues. Michael Raynard, he's the quarterback for the Vikings. Now, he was drafted 2 years ago out of LSU by the Vikings. Originally, I thought he was going to put up more rushing numbers, but I think he turned out to be a bit more of a pocket passer. Because I've noticed that when I played the Vikings, that he wasn't accelerating as quickly as I thought, and the situations just didn't come up. But the main thing is he hasn't thrown more than 2 interceptions, so that's really good. It's going to be interesting. I think he's one of the most interesting quarterbacks in this offline franchise right now. I can't wait to see how that continues, where it goes. Now, Derek Carr, too many interceptions, way too many interceptions. And here we go, Mitchell Trubisky, definitely, together with Trey McKinley, one of the top MVP candidates for the season so far. I mean, a rating of 124. Yes, he doesn't have the most yards, but look at this, 11 passing touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, and a completion rate of 76%. That is some, wow, I mean, that is some performance. Really incredible. Now, Jared Goff, who was traded or free agency, I don't remember, a couple of years ago from the Rams. The Rams picked up Drew Brees before he retired for the Saints. They cut Drew Brees. The Rams picked up Drew Brees for a 1-year contract. Consequently, dropped off Jared Goff at the Dolphins, and Dolphins are playing now Jared Goff because obviously he's still a pretty young player. But man, he has struggled with interceptions this year, 63.5. So I'm not sure how that is going to continue. Trey Edwards, I expect him to really heat up throughout the season. He has been one of the, if not the most prolific passers in the last year of the in the last season of this franchise mode. So he has been one of the top passers. Really, I expect him to step it up. Brian Hill, pretty good game manager. Ricky Stackhouse, he's not really putting up big numbers in passing yards usually, but he's doing a lot with his legs, and you can't really see that in the rating. But he has been phenomenal for the Eagles. Yes, still 6 interceptions, which is a little bit too much more than what you want to see, but hey, still a really good quarterback, and I think electrifying player. I mean, it's so much fun to play Ricky Stackhouse in Madden because of his athletic ability. And here, those last few ones, I'm just going to scroll through those. Carson Wentz, he's the quarterback for the Blues, Chicago Blues. Dak Prescott here, you can see he has really struggled. Not a lot of touchdowns and 4 interceptions, which could be worse, but it's still not where you want it to be. Sammy Gleason, the younger brother of Jimmy Gleason, who is the backup quarterback for the Jets behind Bryce Petty. He has been phenomenal, I would say. Really, really good for the Jaguars, and is probably one of the offensive rookie of the year candidates early on. And Bryce Petty, he has been a disappointment in my opinion. 5 interceptions throughout 3 games is just way too much. But the good news for the Jets is they are still 3-0 and haven't lost a game. So he is not going anywhere. Ethan O'Neill, like I said, he has replaced Russell Wilson for the Seahawks after Wilson got injured. And he has been, I mean, nothing short of amazing. 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. And the Seahawks, they don't turn over the ball a lot on offense anyway. You can see that also here with Russell Wilson. He has no interception either in the time that he played this year. But yeah, for him, he probably comes back in a few weeks. So then I will have to make a decision for the Seahawks who to start the quarterback going forward. Cam Newton is still the quarterback for the Panthers, but he too is injured. So he's not on IR, but he's definitely out an extended period of time. So the Panthers right now are playing their rookie quarterback, Hunter Mosley. And yeah, I mean, you can see he has a decent rating of 87.1. But they haven't won a lot of games, so that's going to be interesting how that continues. Now, the Colts, after Andrew Luck got injured and put on IR, are playing Chris Pettigrew now at quarterback. I don't know much about him yet. He's a rookie. We will see how that goes. Trey Edwards was injured a few times, so Greg Fisher, the rookie for quarterback for the Giants, had to step up, but he hasn't played much. You can see, I think it was about 1 game where Trey Edwards missed time, but he came back the week after. But yeah, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Yeah, same thing for the Cowboys. Jimmy Sharper had to step in for Dak Prescott a couple of times in 1 game because Dak Prescott had to be knocked out of him. Here's Jimmy Gleason, just 2 hands. So anyway, I'm not going to go through the entire list, but here are the top rushers in the league. Chuck Gurley for the Rams, Jeremy Hills for the Redskins, Connor Ulrich, who is the backup to Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette currently is injured, comes back in 3, 4, maybe 5 weeks from injury. He has been absolutely amazing, 171.3 yards per average per game. And I don't even know what to say. I mean, that was just, I mean, what I do is I don't really play running backs most of the time. I just snap the ball, I press A, and I let the CPU control the running back. Sometimes I do a juke move here and there, maybe a spin move, but usually I just let the CPU control the player, and he has just been a stout player for the Jags. Makes you wonder what they're going to do with Leonard Fournette once he comes back. They're probably going to share carries. Thomas Rawls has been fantastic. Octavius Baldwin for the 49ers has been great. He has just renewed his contract with the 49ers, so he's not going to go anywhere. Kenneth Dixon, Jordan Howard, Dave Johnson, Le'Veon Bell. He's battling contract issues with the Steelers right now. It's not sure yet. He's 29 years old. If he's going to be back with the Steelers, so that remains to be seen. Ben Langley, he was traded in week 2 or week 3 from the Jets to the Texans. And he has really found a new home with the Texans and really been successful. Really good for him. Sam Fisher for the Jets has stepped up ever since Ben Langley got traded to the Texans. He got more carries. Erwin Weber is the primary running back for the Jets. He has less yardage than his backup, Sam Fisher. So that's interesting. But they're both pretty good. And the Jets, they do the committee thing. Ricky Stackhouse is the most productive rushing quarterback in the league, to very little surprise. 3 rushing touchdowns already, 231 yards on 10 yards per carry average. So that's really, really good. And I can't wait to see how the season continues for him. Melvin Gordon, Marshall Sims, Ezekiel Elliott. Now he needs more carry, so that's going to be interesting how that continues. Just going through that list here. Oh yeah, Jay is still with the Dolphins here, obviously. So because I started this franchise before the trade happened to the Eagles. I liked him better on the Dolphins anyway, in my opinion. I'm really sad that the AFC lost Jay. Such a great player. I really liked him on the Dolphins. Anyway, let's take a look who the top wide receivers are, or the top receivers are. T.Y. Hilton, Julio Jones, Davante Adams, D.D. Westbrook, Eric Murphy. So we still have 2 Packers among the top wide receivers in the league. The most successful Jordan Reed is the most successful tight end in the league with the most catches. Mike Evans, he has just renewed his contract with the Buccaneers, I think. So he will be back in the 2023 season with the Buccaneers. Beckham, Marvin Lockett, who has been on the Jets and then traded to the Rams last offseason. Brandon Cooks, who has or is in contract renewal talks with the Patriots. Not sure yet how that's going to turn out, because the Patriots, it's actually the same situation like in real life. They're not really paying big bucks. Treadwell. Anyway, yeah, you can see. Oh, yeah, the Panthers still have Kelvin Benjamin in this franchise. I started that before the trade happened in real life. Rob Gronkowski is still pretty good. 2 touchdowns, 19 receptions. So it's his 12th year, and he's still really productive. Oh, and he's a hell of a rookie, Beckett Owens. He was drafted in the first round, I think, by the Bulls, Brooklyn Bulls. He's really good. Yeah. This is another pretty good rookie, Mike Graham. I wonder if there are some Jets around here. Oh yeah, Rick Johnson, the best tight end in the league. You can see this. I'm not kidding. There you see, Rick Johnson is the #1 ranked tight end in the league based on his overall rating. All right, there's Ardarius Stewart, another Jets player. Obviously, with bye week already in week 4, they're not near the top there. Anyways, this is that. On defense, who is leading in receptions? It's Brian Golston from the Panthers, strong safety. Tre'Davious White, cornerback out of LSU for the Bills, obviously. He is really fantastic, and it shows here as well. Aaron Akins for the Texans. And how about that? A linebacker, 2 interceptions. Blake Martinez, Marlon Humphrey, lots of interceptions. Pretty good. And who has the most tackles? Eddie Marks. Yes, he's, in my opinion, the best middle linebacker in the league. I don't even know. Yeah, the number 3 ranked middle linebacker in the league. Just unbelievable player. Unbelievable player. And I know that he is not real, but this is why franchise mode is so much fun sometimes. The Bills drafted this player, and you knew right away from the numbers, yeah, he's a good pick. But the numbers that he put together in his first year and 4 games have been tremendous. And look at this, and now he's even leading the league in tackles. It's tremendous. He has 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 interception for 63 yards, probably even a touchdown. I don't even know. Fumble forced 1, 11 deflections. Absolutely a beast on defense. What a player. Ryan Shazier is also still playing and doing a fantastic job. One of the best linebackers. Anyway, so yeah, that's as far as the stats go. I'm just going to go through the standings real quick. Who the current playoff teams would be. At the moment in the AFC, we would have the Jets as the number 1 seed, the Blues as the number 2 seed, the Bills would be in the first wild card spot, the Texans would be the number 3 seed, the Jaguars would be the second wild card spot. The Broncos would be the number 4 seed. So that's what it looks like right now in the AFC. So we would have 2 teams from the AFC East, 2 teams from the AFC South, and then the divisional champions from the North and the West. In the NFC, what does it look like? The Panthers, they are the number 1 seed right now. The Rams would be the number 2 seed out of the West. The Bears would be the number 3 seed out of the North. The Saints would be the wildcard number 1 spot. The Vikings would be wildcard 2. The Giants would be the 4 seed. And that's it. So the Eagles would be out right now. But obviously that's still not really done yet. So we still have a lot of football to be played. And last but not least, and then I'm going to finish this up, let's take a quick look at the games for week 5. We are starting with Thursday Night Football, obviously. Bulls at Broncos. The Bulls are going to play at Denver on Thursday Night Football. And then on Sunday, we have the Dolphins at Bills, which is already the second time those 2 teams meet each other this season. They played each other at Miami in week 1, where they tied, the only tie in the season so far. They tied up at 17-17. The Bills haven't lost since. The Dolphins have lost only once since, so it's probably going to be a pretty good matchup again. The Giants back Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, they really need to win this game to avoid going 0-5. The Giants have only been 2-2 so far, so they're going to look to improve on that. 49ers at Saints, the Patriots at Blues. They want to win this game after losing at home last week. The Redskins at Bears. Packers at Vikings. Oh, that's going to be a good game. Always love the NFC North games, so that's going to be really fun. Panthers at Ravens. The Ravens must win this game. They're 0-4. They need to turn things around. Otherwise, that season is going to be lost already. And let's be honest, at 0-4, it's already maybe too late, quite likely. We already know that statistically, when you start 0-3, you pretty much are guaranteed not to make the playoffs, historically speaking. We have another AFC South matchup, Colts and Jaguars. The Colts, without Andrew Luck, will have a tough time probably in Jacksonville. Titans and Chiefs, that's a good one. Lions at Jets. The Jets come back after the bye week, so that's going to be interesting for them. You know, all coming back, see if they are rusty or if they are looking refreshed. Chargers at Rams is going to be the LA Bowl, so to say. Who's going to be king of LA? Raiders at Texans, that should be a good one on Sunday Night Football. And then on Monday Night Football, we wrap things up of Week 5 with Falcons at Seahawks. And that's definitely going to be a fun matchup as well. The Seahawks are 2-2. Russell Wilson will not be back yet, I think. So it's going to be Ethan O'Neill, the backup quarterback, second-year player in the spotlight, and Matt Ryan, the veteran. It's going to be an intriguing matchup in store to follow to see what's going to happen there. Yeah. Anyway, I think yeah, that's pretty much it. Here we have some headlines about what's going on, but with that being said, I think I'm going to wrap things up here. And I can't wait to see what the games are going to bring in Week 5. I'm really excited about all the matchups. Every single one is fun to think about, and yeah, maybe somebody out there is going to be interested in watching some of those videos that I'm going to upload on Twitch, and when I stream on Twitch, and when I export the videos to YouTube. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at FilmSpeed84, or follow me on Twitch as well, FilmSpeed84. And I'm always happy to get messages or critique as well. And with that